pre-tribulation rapture is a doctrine taught by mainstream Christianity that teaches that in the end times, before things get really bad, as we're told they are, the Messiah, Jesus, will come down and swoop them up in this glorious cloud, and they will be transported to heaven, where they will be free from all the afflictions on the earth. With this doctrine, could you imagine if you were in a plane, on a train, a bus, a boat, and then people are just being zapped up out of their clothes? So you got planes falling out of the sky now, crashing into people. You got ships going off course, car wrecks. This sounds an awful lot like confusion, and we know that Yahweh is not the author of confusion. But anyhow, what I like to do is, let's go in the scripture and see where can we find this pre-tribulation rapture. Now, this tenet is based off of 1 Thessalonians 4:15. And let us read this, because this is where the core tenet of this pre-tribulation rapture comes from. For this we say to you by the word of the Master, that we, the living who are left over at the coming of the Master, shall in no way go before those who are asleep. Because the Master himself shall come down from heaven with a shout, with the voice of a chief messenger, and with the trumpet of Yahweh, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise first. Then we, the living who are left over, shall be caught away together with them in the clouds to meet the Master in the air, and so we shall always be with the Master. So this is the verse, 1 Thessalonians 4:15, that has inspired this pre-tribulation rapture. Now, what you need to notice is that you can't try to make this passage refer to a pre-tribulation rapture of protection. It makes no sense. Considering that the dead are said to go first. Well, if the dead are going to go up first, the dead don't need to be raptured to safety, because they're dead. Plus their souls, according to this rapture teaching, will already be in heaven. This doesn't even make any sense, bro. But let us go. Let's go to 2 Timothy 3:12. And indeed, all those wishing to live reverently in Mashiach Yahshua shall be persecuted. Well, that's shot number one. Pow! If we're to be persecuted by living in the Messiah, well then how can we be raptured into safety? Because according to this doctrine, before the persecution starts, or when it does, you're going to be raptured up into safety anyway. But not according to scripture. From here, let us go to James 5:10. It says, my brothers, as an example of suffering and patience, take the prophets who spoke in the name of Yahweh. Now we're told to be taking the example of the prophets, and it talks about suffering and patience. This also does not go according to this pre-tribulation rapture doctrine. But if that ain't sinking in, let us keep going. Let us first go to Matthew chapter 24 verse 9. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Oh wow. Well, this don't sound too inviting. Probably why you never heard it in church. That don't sink in. Then let's go down to verse 30. It says, and then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in the heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the Son of Adam coming on the clouds of heaven with power and much esteem. And he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his chosen ones from the four winds, from one end of the earth to the other, or the heavens to the other, forgive me. And learn this parable from the fig tree. When his branch has already become tender and put forth leaves, you know that the summer is near. So you also, when you see all these, know that he is near at the doors. Now I read this verse because apparently, according to this pre-tribulation rapture, the Messiah is to come like that, and you ain't even going to see him. But not according to scripture, because when he does come, you ain't going to be able to miss it if you're on earth. And then it talks about the four corners of the earth. That means the whole earth. That's that Hebrew euphemism again. So if you are alive when he returns, believe you me, you are going to witness this. Let us go to verse 19. And woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing children in those days. And pray that your flight does not take place in the winter or on the Sabbath, for then there shall come great distress, since has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh would be delivered, but for the sake of the chosen ones, those days have been shortened. This tells us that the elect or the saints will be on earth. We will be on earth, and it is because of us that Yahweh has actually shortened this period of tribulation. Woo. Now, if we are to be raptured up, we're not on earth. And if we're not on earth, why shorten those days? All the good ones are in heaven according to this pre-tribulation rapture doctrine, but not according to Scripture. We are on earth, and it's because of us being here that the days are going to be shortened. If you go to Luke chapter 21, verse 26 through 36, it says, "Men fainting from fear and the expectation of what is coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then they shall see the Son of Adam coming in a cloud with power and much esteem." Let me stop. Because see, we are again being told that you're going to see the Messiah coming back if you are alive, no matter who you are. "And when these things begin to take place, look up and lift up your heads, because your redemption draws near." And he spoke a parable to them. "Look at the fig tree and all the trees. And when they have already budded, observing it, you shall know for yourselves that summer is now near. So you also, when you see these things take place, know that the reign of Elohim is near. Truly I say to you, this generation by no means shall pass away, till all shall have taken place. The heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my words shall by no means pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down by gluttony and drunkenness, and worries of this life, and that day come on you suddenly. For it shall come as a snare on all those dwelling on the face of the earth. Watch then all the times, and pray that you be counted worthy to escape all this about to take place, and to stand before the Son of Adam." That's a really, really ominous warning for us believers down here. He's not giving us any type of guarantee of safety. He's not saying that everything's going to be fine. The best he could tell us is that watch and don't fear when these things happen, because they have to happen. And then he says to pray that you be counted worthy to escape all these about to take place, and to stand before the Son of Adam. Then you see in verse 26, men fainting from fear and the expectation of what is coming on the earth. This is how mankind will react when they realize they have been lied to and must face tribulation. And you got to think about the plaguing of our planet, because they didn't prepare themselves, thinking they were going to be raptured up in the heaven out of trouble. But now you're down here with the rest of us, bro, and you have no idea what to do. Sheesh. Let us go. John chapter 6, verse 40. "And this is the desire of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him shall possess everlasting life, and I shall raise him in the last day." Now the last day occurs after the tribulation, not before. The last day refers to the resurrection of all believers. If you keep going, it says, "No one is able to come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I shall raise him in the last day." Here we are being told about this last day and the resurrection. Keep going down. In verse 54 it says, "He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood possesses everlasting life, and I shall raise him in the last day." Not raise him before the tribulation. You're only going to get resurrected once if you are dead. And to sink this home, let's go to John 11:24. "Martha said to him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day." And this is why these verses are important, because this pre-tribulation rapture doctrine teaches that the dead and the living will be rescued and raptured up. But the dead are only being resurrected after the tribulation, which occurs on the last day. They've gotten scripture out of sync because they have no understanding of this Hebraic literature. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12. "And the woman was given 2 wings of a great temple to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time, from the presence of the serpent. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river." This also can be likened to pressure and false teachings, which we have a lot of. "And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. Now, if you look at this verse, you know that the dragon is wrought with the women who are the saints. And notice that their tribulation and their persecution is taking place right here on earth. We know it's on earth because you read terms like wilderness, river, and earth that demonstrates that the saints will find some type of protection on earth, not in heaven, as the Rapture Doctrine teaches. Satan has no power to chase the saints around in heaven. And according to the pre-tribulation rapture, they had already been in heaven. So that means Satan would have been up there trying to persecute him up there. But he's not. He's down here with you, us, the saints, trying to get us. Yes, some will find solace. Do I worry about that? No. The Messiah says, don't fear losing your life. Those who seek to lose their life may find it. So I don't worry about trying to be called to safety or keeping my life during this period, because we're told not to fear those who can destroy the body, but to fear him who can destroy the body and the soul. So keep that on your mind. But yes, some will be found worthy to have safety. We don't know who that is though. Back in the conjunction what I just said, John 17 verse 15, the Messiah says, I do not pray that you shall take them out of this world, but that you keep them from the wicked one. The Messiah is praying to the Father Yahweh, and he ain't asking that he rapture us up from the wicked one. He's not asking that we be taken out of the world. He only prays that we be kept from the wicked one. Wow. And this is why the hearts of men will fail many in those days, because they will not be prepared when they see these things coming to fruition. Let's go to Daniel chapter 8 verse 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy incredibly, and shall prosper and thrive, and destroy mighty men, and the set apart people. Wow. The set apart people is the believers, the saints. And we're told that they're going to be destroyed. So here we're told that even the end time saints will be martyred for the faith. And again, you can run this back with Matthew 24 verse 9. Let us do that one more time. It says, then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. I hope this stuff is sinking into y'all. Let us go to Revelation chapter 6. Chapter 6 verse 9. And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the heaven, under the altar, the beings of those having been slain for the word of Yahweh and for the witness which they held. Well, here's more end time martyrdom. It's end time because it's in Revelations, and it's martyrdom because it talks about them being slain for holding true to the word of Yahweh. Sheesh. But dig this, it says, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, Master, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? And there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told that they should rest a little longer until both their fellow servants and their brothers who would be killed as they were was completed. Like I've said before, bro, I'm not in any rush to see the end time coming. I'm not going to lie to you. Because of what I know must transpire to get there. And if we are on earth, ain't nothing about it going to be pretty, bro. Scripture tells us we are going to die. That many of us will die for the faith. Point blank period. Power has been given to the beast and his system to have triumph over us. Scripture tells you that too. We just read it in Daniel. There is no resistance that we're going to put up. There is no rebellion that we're going to put up. There is no coup or overthrow of governments. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, and that's why they're going to power. They're going to triumph over us. Our battle, our redemption comes from up, not of this world. Let us keep going on. Revelation 2:26 says, and he who overcomes and guards my works until the end, to him I shall give authority over the nations. Wow. Now notice that the rewards are not given to those who escape, but those that overcome. Now how could you overcome if you've been raptured up into safety? Sheesh. We're going to read Revelation chapter 20 verse 5. And the rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. This is the first resurrection. Now had there been a pre-tribulation rapture, This will be the second resurrection, not the first. Stemming to what I was talking to you about earlier, about that first day that Martha spoke about, dealing with Lazarus. Zechariah 14:4 says, "And in that day his feet shall stand upon a Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two, from east to west, a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south." Dig it. Yahshua's destination is on the Mount of Olives, not returning to heaven. His intent is to set up his throne at Jerusalem in that day. He doesn't reverse directions and head back to heaven with the newly gathered saints, as this pre-tribulation rapture teaches. We can verify this again if you read Luke 21 verse 37. "And he was teaching in a set apart place by day, but at night he went out and stayed on the Mount of Olives." Isn't that also funny that according to this pre-tribulation rapture, that everyone's taken into heaven to reign? But Revelations 5:10 says, "And made us kings and priests to our Yahweh, and we shall reign upon the earth." Then we're told also that the meek will inherit not heaven, but the meek will inherit the earth. Earth is our reward, and it'll be right here. We ain't going nowhere, bruh. It gets even more ominous. Revelations chapter 13 verse 7 says, "And it was given to him to fight with the Kodashim, or the set apart ones, and to overcome them. And authority was given to him over every tribe and tongue and nation." Now I just told you that this was going to happen, and then we are told in scriptures that it will. Let us go to Revelations chapter 20 verse 4, because if you want to know how we die, scripture tells you that too. Revelations chapter 20 verse 4 says, "And they saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was given to them in the lives of those who had been beheaded, because of the witness they bore to Yahshua, and because of the word of Yahweh, and who did not worship the beast nor his image, and did not receive his mark upon their foreheads or upon their hands. And they lived and reigned with the Mashiach for 1,000 years. No. Are you ready to be beheaded for your prayer card? Are you ready to be beheaded for Yahshua? Seriously, are you? Because this book that so many proclaim to believe in tells you exactly that you will die. And it even tells you how you will die. Now, another popular verse that people like to read but often misconstrued is Matthew chapter 24 verse 37. "And as the days of Noah, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. For as they were in the days before the flood, eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and they did not know until the flood came and took them away, so also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be. Then two shall be in the field, the one is to be taken, and the one is to be left. Two shall be grinding at the mill, one is taken, and one is left." To figure this out, all you need to know is that what happened in the times of Noah. Who was taken and who was left? All the evil people in Noah's time were washed away. They were taken. They were removed. It was only Noah and his progeny, his family, that were kept. You don't want to be one of the ones that's talking about being taken here in scripture, and also in Luke chapter 17 verse 35 to 37. You don't want to be one of those. Because then it also talks about the darnel being burned up. We also know that the Messiah will come back after the tribulation, because if you read in Matthew chapter 24 verse 29, it says, "And immediately after the tribulation of those days the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the power of the heavens shall be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in the heavens." Now I know I bounced around a lot in this video, but I do hope that you are able to see that the word of Yahweh must be taken in its entirety, holistically, and that you cannot take one scripture, pervert that to suit a whole doctrine, as so many non-Hebraic people, and even sadly Hebraic people, have done. when these tribulations kick in, if you're watching this and they kick in tonight and you are on earth, you will undergo something that no man has ever experienced before. So we're told to be watchers. That's all we can do. Keep the faith, keep the commands, the testimonies, and watch. And pray that we be counted worthy to escape this tribulation, to escape the persecution. But if not, we still win. We lose the battle but win the war. My name is Unimportant. Thank you for watching.